Welcome to SSU Live. My name is Abraham DeWeese. This is the Seattle Sports Union, the best in local Seattle sports. We do lots of great things here. We have videos. Check us out here on YouTube. We also write articles about the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Mariners, Huskies, Sounders, pretty much everything here in the Seattle area. Check out our great articles on seattlesportsunion.com. Also, go ahead and go to Facebook and like us. Be one of the union, and also check us out on Twitter at Seattle Sports U. I got behind the camera one Robert Lucky. He is the technical director here for Seattle Sports Union, and I would like to welcome him and introduce you to the fans. Hey, Robert.
Robert, what's this Robert crap?
I was just trying to be all, like polite and honest and nice to you today. But I can call you Bob if you'd like.
Whatever you want.
All right, we're going to open the show here with the Seattle Seahawks. Let's take a look at a couple things as far as the Hawks go. One of the big things that I was concerned about is, where is the salary cap money going? What we know right now is that the Seahawks don't have a whole lot of room under the cap. Marshawn Lynch has retired, and he's still holding up about $9 million in salary cap room. After next year, that should drop off, but his retirement still holds up a prorated amount that's going to stay on the books. Well, it's kind of an odd thing. Even though he has that much money, that's not really where the cap allocation money is hitting this team. We look at this team and we see it led by the defense, obviously, right? We're looking at guys like Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, people like that. Were you guys aware, because I know I wasn't, were you aware that 18% of the salary cap money goes to the defensive line? That's right, 18%. If you look at who's on the line, Michael Bennett, if you look at Tyre Rubin, and not much else. Frank Clark, but really a lot of the money is going into Michael Bennett. Fortunately, Michael Bennett wants more money. That kind of scares me a little bit. We put a lot of money into very few players, just 3 players on that defensive line. And one of those players wants more money. We take a look also at cornerback and safety. Cornerbacks are being paid about 15% of the total salary cap, and safeties 12%. I'm going to say if you add those two up at 27%, that's way too much. What am I trying to get at here? There might have to be cuts made. There might have to be cuts made to free up some money so that the Seahawks can go get some free agents if needed this summer. Who do you cut? How about Cam Chancellor? What do you think about Cam Chancellor? I am not a big fan of the way that he held out last year. I'm not a fan of the way he missed 2 games last year and pretty much derailed all of our opportunities in the first 4 or 5 games. It took him a long time to get back up to speed. But I would say there might be better options than Cam Chancellor out there. I know what you guys are saying out there. That's blasphemy. That's heresy. Look at how great the team did once Cam Chancellor came back. We made a great run. Did we? Did we make a great run? I don't think so. I saw a position with Cam Chancellor at strong safety where he was out of position a little bit slower than usual and lacked the aggressiveness that he had in previous seasons. I saw tight ends running amok throughout the majority of the season. When was that important? I don't know. Maybe against Carolina? Maybe against the Panthers? Yeah, Greg Olsen went insane on these Seattle Seahawks. So I ask you, what's the point in paying Cam Chancellor any more money than he's already getting?
Because he'll murder us Vernon Davis style.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, other than the fact that physical violence could occur, hopefully here in the studios in Edmonds, Washington, he won't find us. Well, please, Bob, do not give him our address. But I think he's a person. If you're looking to cut salary, he would make a lot of sense. I pick him over Michael Bennett. And I realize Michael Bennett's making a pretty penny, making about $9 million, and he wants more. But I would definitely take a defensive lineman over a strong safety. You can get strong safeties elsewhere. Cornerback is making quite a bit of money. Linebackers are making quite a bit of money. When you look at the pie chart of what everybody's making, it's about 45 or 55% of the money is going to offense or defense. 45 is going to offense. I don't know about you guys, but I was a little surprised that the position group that's getting paid the least right now is the running back position. I'm actually kind of excited about that. You know, now that you have Marshawn Lynch gone, and next year his money's going to roll over and we'll get that $9 million back. We're looking at a guy in Thomas Rawls, undrafted free agent, making pretty much no money at all. We're looking at a guy like Alex Collins, who I'm a big fan of. In fact, I wrote an article about Alex Collins. I'd like you all to go check out, like all of you to check it out at seattlesportsunion.com. He's a very interesting guy. He is a person who ran in the SEC. He was a running back in the SEC for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And he ran for 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. 3. Not many people have done that. In fact, only 2 other people have done that in SEC history. You're looking at Adrian Peterson, or not Adrian Peterson, but you're looking at Darren McFadden, my apologies, and Herschel Walker. Those are 2 legends in the SEC. Herschel Walker went on to have a really good career in the NFL. The bugaboo about Alex Collins was he had a little case of the fumbles. He had a little case of the dropsies. But he is big, he's fast, and he ran behind a terrible offensive line at Arkansas. It was not very good. But he did the job. He got done what needed to get done. And he did it against NFL-level defenses after NFL defense after NFL defense. I am talking about Alabama. I am talking about Louisiana State. I'm talking about Georgia, Florida. I'm talking about these teams that put in NFL caliber defensive linemen, NFL caliber linebackers, left and right. All he did was succeed. Even when they stacked up the box to take him out, all he did was succeed. You know, another guy I like is CJ Prosise. So we're looking at Thomas Rawls not getting paid much. Alex Collins, who just got drafted, he's not going to get paid much. And we're also looking at CJ Prosise. CJ Prosise came out of Notre Dame, and I know you guys have all seen him. That guy's fast. He's very, very fast. He not only has like a 4.4 speed in the 40, but he also has in-game speed. So you put the helmet on, put the pads on, and that guy can take off. It's interesting. He was actually a wide receiver, and then they converted him to running back. He basically excelled at any position they needed him to play. Dare I say we could actually see another Percy Harvin type player. Not Percy Harvin as in nutcase. I mean a player who can excel whether you line him up in the backfield or in the slot or at the X or the Z position. This is going to be an amazing pickup, and this could be the one that we all just slap our heads and say, wow, we just got ourselves basically another Reggie Bush type character. We basically got ourselves, you know, a Dave Meggett. We got one of those third down scat backs that can tilt the field and change the course of the game. I'd be excited to see that. I'd be really excited to see that. All right, guys. I just want to bring up also that I have a couple of really good articles out there on Seattle Sports Union. One is about the wide receivers, the top 5 wide receivers. We're going to have a video about that coming out here pretty soon. And I didn't, you know, just a little spoiler alert, I didn't put Doug Baldwin in that list, but I noticed that Pro Football Focus, it's a website that grades all the NFL players, from player A through player Z. They listed Baldwin with a score of 91.1. What's a 91.1? Well, 100's the best. 91.1 is pretty good, to quote Curb Your Enthusiasm. He rated higher than any other player on our offensive team, higher than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson graded out at an 85.5. Anything basically above 75, and you're looking at a person who's pretty good. Anything above 85, you're looking at a player who's, Pro Bowl level. And if you're in the 90s, you're looking at someone that's an all-pro level guy. So they really, really like Doug Baldwin. My concern is, will Doug Baldwin be able to continue the level of production that we saw for a 4 or 5 week period last year? Can he do that? I don't know. 5 games, 6 games, that's an interesting sample set, but this is a person who's been in the league for 5 years, and we've only seen him produce at that level, that much production over a very small, tiny bit of time. I look at the other receivers on this team, and I see Jermaine Kearse, and he gets a score at Pro Football Focus of 76.8, but that's fine. That's fine. That's a little high, I think, for him. And then Tyler Lockett. And I think we're looking at 3 receivers that this team really needed. And if we bring in CJ Prosise as kind of a de facto utility player who can also play receiver, well, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. You guys also probably remember a guy named Paul Richardson, drafted a couple years ago. Keeps getting injured. It's terrible. But he gives us 4.2 speed. 4.2 speed, what does that mean? That means you're looking at a jet engine, basically. Somebody puts a jet engine in this guy's back pocket, and that's what Paul Richardson is. Looking at Chris Johnson type speed, breakaway game-changing speed. It's going to be exciting, actually, because if Jimmy Graham can't recover from his injury, which anyone who's read my articles on SeattleSportsUnion.com knows this, that I do not have any faith that Jimmy Graham is going to make his way back. He is too old. He's got an injury of the ACL, MCL tear that basically other people, when they get injured in that manner, they're done for. They're done for. Again, at his age, when you're looking at a 30-year-old, I think a 22-year-old can bounce back a lot quicker. Someone with far less mileage on the odometer, so to speak. If Jimmy Graham can't make it, I don't think he's a big loss, to be honest. I don't have a problem with him not being able to make the first game of the season, because I think we got a guy in Nick Farnett, this rookie, who will give this team what they need. Because let's face it, we need a blocking tight end. A blocking tight end. Jimmy Graham's not a blocking tight end. Jimmy Graham is a receiving tight end. He's not even a receiving tight end. He's given the label of tight end, but about 50% of the time, he never lines up in the tight end position. He usually lines up in the slot. And he's basically just a very big, slow wide receiver. That's really what he is. Let's stop fooling ourselves. We need that blocking tight end. We need Nick Farnett to pan out if this team is to do what we want them to do. We need a tight end who can drive or zone block in the scheme that that Tom Cable operates in. Because, quite honestly, Jamarcus Webb, do you guys know that name, Jamarcus Webb? He used to play for the Raiders. He used to play for, I don't know, half a dozen teams. He's not very good, and he's going to be our starting right tackle. Let's get back to Pro Football Focus scores. He's pretty much in the bottom fifth of the league. You got a rookie in Iafetti, Jermaine Iafetti. I don't know who you have at center. Is that Justin Britt or Patrick Lewis? Patrick Lewis doesn't grade well. Mark Lewinsky doesn't grade well. Terry Gilliam doesn't grade well. Terry Gilliam, by the way, a former offensive or tight end, never has played left tackle in his life. What are we going to do? we're going to have a tight end playing left tackle? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. So with as weak of an offensive line, we're going to need some things to work right. We're going to need some young guys to work well. We're going to need Paul Richardson to do well. We're going to need C.J. Prosise, Alex Collins to produce, and most importantly, probably Nick Barnett. All right, guys, I'm going to shift gears here on you, talk a little bit about everybody's favorite subject right now, the Seattle Mariners. Well, here it is, Sunday night, 8/16 on June 12th. And as excited as I was about this team 2 weeks ago, I am not depressed about this team. Looking at a Seattle Mariners team that has now dropped 5 games behind the Rangers. I was talking to my technical director, Bob, about this. And I asked him, hey, aren't you excited about these Mariners? Bob, you weren't very excited about these Mariners at all.
No, as a Seattle fan, I can't get excited about the Mariners.
Why not?
Well, you can't let yourself get hurt that often.
Is it like an abusive relationship or something?
It is, and they make you think they're going to do great things, and then they just fall apart. And I mean, I can give you the shining example, and I think you know what it is.
Okay.
116.
Oh, Bob had to bring that up. Oh boy. Yes, of course, the 2001 season, which the Mariners won 116 games, set the record for all-time wins, and couldn't get the job done. There are extenuating circumstances, but that doesn't matter. In the end, it don't mean a thing unless you get that ring. And it don't mean a thing unless you can beat the Texas Rangers, and that's what the Mariners were not able to do. Last weekend, they got swept. They went down to Arlington, got taken out by these Rangers. 3 games in a row. Well, Rangers came up here. We would think turnabout's fair play, but it's not. We got game 1. We got one game. The game 2, Prince Fielder launched a home run in the 9th inning, and then that's all that's all there she wrote. It all went downhill from there. They hit another home run, and Mariners just couldn't keep it together. Today, Sunday, they fall behind 6-1, and the Mariners had 2 innings, the 8th inning and the 9th inning, with men on base and ability to get the go-ahead run, and they just couldn't do it. Game ended when Nomar Mazara, when he threw out Robinson Cano, when Robinson Cano tried to take a single into a double. Gunned him down. That's the way the game ends. And that's kind of poetic in a way. I mean, that's kind of what's been happening to the Mariners these last several series. I mean, things seem to kind of come off the rails when the Twins swept us. I mean, you could say that the Rangers, well, they're in first place. It's okay if we lose to them. Cleveland Indians, we took a split from them. That could be kind of a win, but the problem is you got to win. You can't just kind of win. If you want to go to the playoffs, you have to win. Dropping games to teams like the Angels, taking a sweep from the Angels, taking a sweep from the Rangers, that's not the way you're going to get anywhere in this league. Well, if there's any bright side, the Mariners got to see Dae-Ho Lee in action. Dae-Ho Lee, whose face is all over our sports blog, SeattleSportsUnion.com. He may just take that first base role. Right now, he's platooning with Adam Lind, but I don't know about you. I just don't see what the Mariners see in Adam Lind. The idea is Adam Lind bats from one side of the plate, Lee bats from the other, and both will maximize their potential from one side of the plate to the other. But if you look at the total stats on the season, if you look at all the stats on the season, Dae-Ho Lee, Adam Lind, they've played kind of the same amount of games, but Lind has far more at bats. He has about 54 54 more at-bats. But who has more home runs? Loaded question, Steho Lee. What about RBI? Well, both have the same amount of RBI. Well, what about runs scored? Lind has a few more runs scored, but not a lot. Not when you consider he has 54 more at-bats. And if you look at Daeho Lee's batting average of 308 over Adam Lind's 247 batting average, Lee kind of seems like the runaway winner. And I'd like to see what would happen if he were to bat against right-handed and left-handed pitching. Maybe stop platooning. Maybe just leave Lind as a reserve DH / first baseman. I really think this is a choice that Scott Service and Jerry Dipoto are going to have to make. I feel like they're limping along right now, but can't continue to limp. Going to have to make a decision, going to have to make a change if you're going to get out of this cycle of losing. There's another bright side. I mean, bright sides are few and far between right now because the Mariners' slide has them 5 games out of first place. But if there's another bright side, it's that James Paxton, starting to look good. He's starting to look really good. He came up last week when Felix Hernandez had a strained calf. I'm sorry, a strained calf. I don't think he really has a strained calf. I don't think anybody's buying it. I think this is one of those fake injuries that they make up so that they can work on whatever mechanical issues or just let Felix rest. But regardless of whether it's a real injury or not, he's on the DL and James Paxton had to come up. So Paxton came up, his first outing, he got shelled. Oh man, he got destroyed. Pitching to 3 2/3 innings, he gave up 10 hits and 8 runs. I mean, he did strike out 7. That's pretty cool. That's pretty impressive. But he did not look good, and all the fans, myself included, started worrying, started being really, really concerned. Wow, this is the best we can come up with. I mean, we were just all sort of thinking that Paxton's going to be injured sometime or another, but we didn't expect him to get destroyed and just utterly laughed off the field in that first game. Well, that turned out not to be a portent of doom at all. The next 2 games, Paxton looks really, really good. He looked really, really good. He did not win either of the 2 games, but on June 6th against Cleveland, he struck out 10 guys. Right? That's pretty good. He only gave up 3 runs. I mean, 1 was on a home run, but the point is he kept his team in a position where they had a chance to win. I mean, they only lost 1-3. A quality start, definitely a quality start, but the M's offense couldn't do anything. Yesterday, June 11th, same thing happened. He pitched 6 1/3 innings and gave up no runs. 0, zilch, nada, nothing, zip, with 7 strikeouts. He did walk 2 guys. He gave up a couple hits, but I mean that's no big deal. The point of the pitcher is to not give up any runs. That's what he did. But the M's offense couldn't get anything put together. All right, it just makes me so frustrated and angry to bring up M's offense because that's been a problem for the last, decade. But it's still good to see that Pax can come back from this. Pax looks like what we need. A guy who can stop the bleeding when necessary. He didn't get the decision yesterday. Also, he got the L the previous time out. But if he keeps putting up those kind of outings, the wins are going to come. The wins are going to come. It's a little bit of hard luck, but over the course of a year, the wins are going to come. And he's going to make it a tough, difficult decision, a real difficult decision. What do you do when King Felix comes back? What do you do? Who do you get rid of? Nate Karns has 6 wins. Wade Miley has 6 wins. Or Nate Karns has 5 wins. Wade Miley has 6 wins. You're looking at Taijuan Walker, who's pitching really well. And the guy that probably would be left outside might be Hisashi Iwakuma. But the problem is, Iwakuma's pitching well too. Well, that's good. It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Too much quality, too many quality pitchers, and one of the pitchers might be used as trade bait. Who knows? All right, guys. Just want to talk a little bit about college sports. I know that's your favorite subject over there, Bob. And it was released this week that the University of Washington has a deficit of $14 million from their sports budget. And I can see Bob behind the camera getting really angry hearing that an institution of education has run a $14 million deficit on their ledger.
I'm not angry, Abe.
You're not?
Far be it. But I am actually kind of curious about something.
Yep.
How much does a football coach make?
Football coach probably makes about, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but probably about 7-8 million. So that would be about half your.
And he's a public employee, isn't he?
He is a public employee, yes. So you're not angry. You just have facts to throw out. Okay. Well, there is a big problem in payroll. Payroll at that level is causing the deficit. There's also lack of institutional control. And the great thing is the old athletic director is out, and we have a new one. And I think the new athletic director, their primary concern is going to be how to get new sources of revenue, how to get more money coming in, rather than fixing the problem that Bob just just laid out there. Maybe the fix would be, in Bob's eyes, fire the coach and get one that's cheaper. But we all know that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you have to look for additional sources of revenue. Recently, the Pac-12 had a network launch, and that created a huge infusion of money. But you're going to have to look elsewhere. Winning will help. You get more people coming to the games, and the gate receipts should increase as winning increases. And that looks like that's where we're headed. But what else? What else can we do? Well, I have the solution, guys. Recently, Ohio State decided to start selling beer at their stadium. Recently, and it looks like Bob's now he looks like he's getting upset. West Virginia.
I support the Ohio State.
You support the Ohio State? Do you support the Ohio State selling beer?
As long as the Ohio State sells the beer, I'm okay with this.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd be outraged over this one too. But Ohio State and West Virginia have started selling alcohol at the games. University of Washington has an area outside the stadium called the Zone where they sell beers, but you have to leave the stadium. Essentially, you have to leave the stadium to go to the Zone to get your beers. And what they're finding are that a lot of people are leaving, getting beers, and not coming back to the game. People, once they leave the stadium, are not staying in the Zone. They're also leaving to local pubs and bars. So what you want to do, let's get that money coming back in and staying into the stadium, is disband the Zone. Get rid of it. Maybe you have the Zone open up until the kickoff, but then start sales of drinks inside the stadium and keep people there and keep them drinking all the way to the, what do they usually do in professional football? Third quarter, I believe?
Third quarter.
Third quarter, yeah. Keep it going in the third quarter. Make people stay in the stadium. Don't give them a reason to walk away. Don't give them a reason to walk past the Zone and go to a local bar or go to the tailgate. It's a source of revenue I think the Huskies are really missing out on. And I know that there are codes and ethics and this and that, but come on, guys.
But Abe, won't selling beer in the stadium cause impressionable University of Washington college students to drink beer?
College students don't drink beer, Bob. I don't know what you're talking about. Never seen.
My bad. I don't know what I'm talking about.
In my time at college, all I did was learn and go to classes. So I don't know if there's these college students out there drinking. You tell me. But anyway, that's my idea: is shut down the zone when game starts, get the drink sales inside the stadium. I think that'll help out a lot, and also winning will help out a
So,
lot.
Abe, I got a question for you.
Yes.
What financial incentive do the Huskies have for keeping people in the stadium? And provided you have to leave the stadium to go drink a beer, you've already paid for your ticket at that point.
Yeah, but you want people to drink beer and you want them to buy merchandise because for some reason, I don't know what that reason is, but there's a correlation for drinking and buying jerseys. First you do one, then you do the other. And that means more money, right? I mean, that's the way I see it.
I can go with that. I have many scarves that you've bought me at
At Sounders
during
games.
the late part of a Sounders game.
Yes. Purchasing decisions seem to always be very good when you drink more beer. All right, anyway, we're running out of time here, but I want to thank behind the camera here, Bob Lucky, and I want to thank all of you for watching us. This is SSU Live. We are the Seattle Sports Union. Go check out our articles at seattlesportsunion.com. Check us out on Facebook, like us on Facebook, and check out all our great videos here on SSU, on Seattle Sports Union on YouTube. Have a great day, guys.